after Peacemaker season 2, we gotta talk about James Gunn and his shows in general. There's gonna be no glaze, no recency bias, no hate, just honest, raw opinions on what I've seen, okay? And to start this off, I do like Peacemaker. Peacemaker season 1 was great all the way through. Peacemaker season 2 was really good all the way to the ending. I like a lot of James Gunn projects. Everything in the DCU so far has been pretty good, but there is some things that are consistent about James Gunn and his writing and everything he puts his hand on that is just, starting to get worrisome. One thing about James Gunn so far in the DCU is when it comes to show-wise, because the movies is better, and I'm gonna get to that later, he just can't finish a show out. Like, the endings to Creature Commandos and Peacemaker have just both felt not right? They feel like there's just not enough, or there should be more. And that's something I thought was going to end at Creature Commandos, right? Creature Commandos came out, and the finale for it came around. It was not good, right? We can say this. We can say things are not good and not have it be a personal attack on people, right? It was not good. The rest of the show is good, but the finale sold it. It's because they had too much going on. And that's a constant with James Gunn stuff. They have a lot going on. They try to fit in the origin story, and they try to throw in a big twist villain, and it just didn't work, right? Because there just wasn't enough time, and it just needed more. And I feel like it's the same case for Peacemaker season 2. Because I brushed off Creature Commandos ending because I thought, it's literally the first thing in the DCU. It's, he's going to get better and this isn't going to happen again. But then it happened literally in the next show. And I'm low-key getting worried. I know the Glazers like to say, the gun doesn't jam, I don't feel the gun jams either, but I do think it does run out of ammo. I feel like everything leading up to the finale of Peacemaker and Creature Commandos was good. And especially for Peacemaker, right? We had a bunch of good character developed storytelling. We was doing great. But then we got to the finale. And I'm seeing this is a common thing that a lot of people are saying. Because I was in my Discord. My Discord's in the description below. We talked there, right? This is our little community. But I was talking a lot in the Discord, and somebody had said the last episode felt like filler. And at first, I had recency bias. I was like, no, I just don't feel like filler. It feels like more like they're setting up the future of the DCU, right? So you realize we're not watching the future of the DCU right now. We're watching Peacemaker. So after I slept on it and I thought about it more, I'm like, damn, the episode really was filler. Well, at least felt like filler. And I want to explain why I felt like filler. One of the worst things about James Gunn as a showrunner, when it comes to him making shows, and I'm going to need him to stop doing this, is the needle drops. The needle drops are getting old. He's overusing them. I understand a needle drop in a movie because a movie is so small and compact that you have to fit in other stuff, but a needle drop the needle drops can't be too much. But in shows, he's needle dropping damn near every episode, and then it comes down to the finale and the nigga plays a whole concert. We get multiple needle drops. It's just getting bad. And he did it in Creature Commandos too. We gotta stop needle dropping. I don't want the music montages just everywhere. And it especially doesn't fit in the last episode, right? The worst thing about Peacemaker's ending, right? Honestly, this goes for Creature Commandos too, that they set up so much. Then in the last episode, they spend so much time doing things that don't really add up or bring up to the finale. And then it ends on a cliffhanger or it ends unsatisfactory, right? With Creature Commandos, it was Nina's origin story. I feel like we didn't need to have an origin story in that episode. You should have just had one episode for it and had another episode. It should have been 9 episodes. Peacemaker in this case feels like it was trying to wrap up all the character storylines. Adebayo and Kia didn't need to happen. We didn't need to see this. This could have just been some off-screen shit. We didn't need to see this. I don't feel like it contributes that much to Peacemaker or the future of the DCU, right? And then don't get me started on the flashbacks and the concerts, right? We didn't need that. The flashback to when Chris and Harcourt were talking in the fucking burger place, right? That did need to happen in the finale. We could have used that at the beginning of the season because it literally took place before the beginning of the season. It could have happened anywhere else but the finale. And it just starts to add up. You get these music montages, you get these little character things like Economos making a diversion. Dude, no, bro. That was way too much wasted time. He's making jokes and shit. I would have rather looked at the screen while they was trying to find Peacemaker instead of just having him do that shit. It just felt like absolute filler nonsense when we could have got more. Because that's the thing with Peacemaker's finale and Creature Commandos finale, right? Peacemaker's finale didn't feel like a finale. It just felt like a normal Peacemaker episode. Creature Commandos, it didn't really end the way it was supposed to end. It didn't explain enough. The problem is James Gunn has so much time, but he doesn't use it all. He gives it to other stuff, but he doesn't utilize it in the way he's supposed to be doing because he has so much shit going on. And there are more concepts that James Gunn just keeps doing that I really prefer him to stop doing in his shows, especially the mature rated ones, is he will have some of the most dialogue of all time, right? He will literally just have them spamming curse words and all sorts of dialogue when I'd rather just hear them talk normally, right? And I get it, we grown watching this, you know, oh, he's using swear words, how bad, right? It gets to a point to where these niggas are dropping like 3 to 4 F-bombs per scene. It's just getting insane. That's per character. And I feel like it's getting dragged out because we just using words that don't matter like this. They be like, fuck this, we gotta save the fucking world, and what the fuckity fuck, right? And it just feels like extending what's already there. And I feel like they're trying to do it for comedic purposes too, because I feel like, you know, oh, cussing is funny. But a lot of, and I know this is in Peacemaker's genetic structure, right? You know, being funny, not taking itself too serious. But I feel like this season was too serious for them to just give so much time to jokes. Like, we did not need to see Agent Flurry and Adrian talking about animals, bro. And I love seeing them interact, but I would rather that had been one of those little after the episode things. You know, the things they have after the episode where they show the characters interacting like a deleted episode or something, deleted scene or something like that. I didn't need to see that in the full episode. I just didn't, right? And let me make y'all understand why I feel like all this shit just shouldn't have happened in the finale, right? We get left on a cliffhanger. Now, cliffhanger isn't bad. Cliffhangers are actually some of the best things about shows in general because they keep you just waiting. But I feel like a cliffhanger is seriously undeserved when you waste time. Because I feel like Peacemaker was just wasting time trying to get to that cliffhanger. So I feel like when they set up Checkmate, that was too fast. It shouldn't have been a music montage. All they did was get Bordeaux on board and then, oh, we got Checkmate. That's like me going up to a goddamn bunch table and freestyling, and then we get a music montage, and all of a sudden we're the new gen NWA. Come on, bro. Like, I feel like we missed some steps. We could have took out some of these music montages, took out all of Adebayo and Kia's little shit, and then let it be them building up to fucking Checkmate, right? And I feel like a lot of the finale did indeed feel like another show. That's something I heard in my Discord as well. It felt like another show. And I feel like that's where you have to separate things, because if you want to build a new universe and you want to just hard commit to it, you got to separate the main plot line, the main characters of the show, the main plot line from the building, right? And that's what I really love about early Marvel, because they really ain't doing this with modern Marvel no more, because they're just all over the place now, right? James Gunn is making a mistake that modern Marvel is making. They're doing too much, focuses too much on setting stuff up, right? And then we get left with an empty blank. Like in early Marvel, the post-credit scenes, that's all you needed. The post-credit scenes. Now, I do think that the episode should have been, I don't know, cut down. We got more of what we needed, none of that fluff. And then the episode ends with them making Checkmate, and then we get a post-credit scene. Chris gets dragged to salvation, or maybe we see how they made it then, and then Chris gets dragged to salvation. It could have just been a super long post-credit scene, right? Because nobody's going to click off the show and it has fucking 20 minutes left, right? Obviously, that's a post-credit scene. So I feel like you can't just shoehorn in development, then leave your OG characters out to dry, right? I'm honestly starting to kind of like realize that James Gunn kind of is better with limitations. Like, he's better when he has something holding him back from doing whatever he wants. Because now that he has full control, I feel like he's more attuned to missing now, right? right? With the finales especially. Because look at this, right? Guardians of the Galaxy. Yes, he has the creative freedom to just mess with them because, you know, nobody knows them. But at the same time, it's PG-13 and it's a movie. So he has a runtime limit. So he can't just spam needle drops and all that other shit, right? So he has to fit in all the good stuff, no fluff, right? And it's PG-13, so he can't just spam curse dialogue, just 50 F-bombs a second, right? Then you got Superman. There's no chance in hell you're changing anything about Superman without getting a hate train. On top of that, it's PG-13 and a movie, so he has to get everything he needs in it on top of not being able to change the character. No spam curse dialogue, okay? Do you see the constants in all his good shit? Of course, there's also Peacemaker Season 1. I don't really got none for that. It was a good season. But I will say for Peacemaker, Season 1, its ending and it as a whole felt better because there wasn't just a bunch of different plot lines going on at one time. It was one standard goal and objective. Stop the Moth aliens, right? That's what we did, linearly, throughout the entire series. There might have been some little changes, something like that, some little strays, but we eventually got back to that at the end of it, right? But with Peacemaker Season 2, Creature Commandos, it's just a bunch of different plot lines. And I feel like because of that, it felt dry. Like Dimension X, I don't know if that's what they actually call it, but that's what a lot of people are calling it, so I'm gonna call it that. But Dimension X, I feel like it was wasted because I was expecting them to have to fight the evil Superman there as like a final boss, like how they had to fight them aliens. And of course, my expectations were too high. That's on me, but like I feel like we should have been in that dimension more. It was the most interesting concept of the entire season, the thing it was built around. And then for us to leave it and then immediately get into another plot line made in the finale. So they have to resolve the plot line they just made in the finale, which is, salvation, all that shit, right? They have to resolve that. They just didn't have the time. They have to resolve all their other plot lines. That means all the characters' personal plot lines, everything going on with Peacemaker, and then they gotta make some new shit and resolve it. Too much going on at one time. I think for the future of James Gunn's projects, especially shows, he needs some sort of, limitation, like 3 F-bombs a dialogue.
Damn, bro, you got the whole squad laughing.
Okay, on some serious shit, he needs to focus more on the ending, right? Because, yes, journeys that make endings, they're great, Then it's not about the ending that matters, it's the journey, right? That's great. But in James Gunn's projects, his endings directly correlate to the journey all the time, right? It's really bad when the ending is lackluster and it's not great. Because then it literally changes the entire narrative around your entire show. Because now people are going online and bashing Peacemaker, saying it was Season 2 was bad. Season 2 was not bad. The ending is bad. Season 2 is not bad. It was like an 8 or 9 at first, because the ending is dropping down to like a 7 or 6. Whatever, bro. Whatever. At least for me personally, that's how it is. But Peacemaker Season 2 is not bad. It's important that, James Gunn fixes this ending problem, stops the needle. You gotta get the fluff out of your shows, bro. You just gotta focus on what you need to focus on. Because if you're gonna build up all these plot lines and then just start making a bunch of fluff while you're trying to finish these plot lines, it's not gonna work. The needle drops, the sex scenes, like, dude, we gotta cut out some of this shit. Like, I'm glad we found out Eagly was the primal eagle, but if I would have known some of these plot lines would have just been thrown in, we low-key wouldn't have needed that. We low-key shouldn't need that. He just had so much time to work with, and then just for it to not amount to something great, it's just crazy. Now, I'm glad the salvation thing is going to lead to some cause of salvation run, and you got checkmate and all that. That's for the future. But as of now, dude, it's just not working. I feel like James gave up the quality of Peacemaker in the finale for the sake of world building, and that's just not something you do. I feel like James Gunn is better when he focuses on storytelling and not building up something new, because with Guardians, he really didn't even build nothing new. They forced it upon him. This is why I'm saying he's better with limitations. Now, I think it's low-key just me getting, burnout with James Gunn DC projects, because at least the shows, because they feel very similar, because the dialogue's pretty much very similar. They're all actual pieces of shit that I'm supposed to root for, and then eventually, you got to step out your comfort zone with these shows, bro, because The shows are longer than the movies. That's why all this is happening, because I feel like he's a better movie maker than he is a showrunner. By no means do I think he's a bad one. I just think we got to make some changes. Like, I know I keep saying this, but cut out the needle drops, please, bro. I don't want to see a goddamn Rocky 4 montage every time I click onto an episode. I just want to see the plot, you know? I get it. You got good music taste. I don't need to see it. You don't got to show it to me. But I think the thing I'm looking forward to most when it comes to DC is something not written by James Gunn. Because y'all know, early in Marvel, things were written by a bunch of different people. So all the projects felt different. And of course, James Gunn has made most of the projects in DC, well, all of the projects in DCU right now. I guess I'm just tired of his writing when it comes to these shows. I love the movies, but I'm getting tired of these shows. Mostly because of the dialogue and him not having good endings. I'm tired of it. I expect better from James Gunn. So I low-key want to see what a new writer is gonna do for DC when these upcoming projects come out, right? But at the same time, if they don't do as good as James Gunn, it's gonna suck, right? It really just comes down to, what do we have planned for the future of the DCU? Like, I don't want any more of these bad endings. I'm tired of them. I know the movies are gonna be good, because the movies are where these niggas shine best, right? That's their strongest point, right? But I'm scared for these shows. I'm scared because we need better endings. All I want is a DCU project with a good ending that's a show. That's all I want. That's all I need to see, and I'll be convinced. And I'm not hating. I'm not saying nothing's ass. I'm just saying this ending was bad, okay? This ending was bad. Show was good, but the ending was bad. And that's okay. Like The Sopranos, the show was good all the way to the end. And then it was ass, right? The ending was bad. We're one of the worst endings of all time. It's okay to have a bad ending, but a good series. But the problem is, when your ending is bad, people are gonna look at your show different. So of course I gotta just voice this, right? I don't want to see any more bad endings, because this is a franchise. We need better endings out of you. I mean, that's pretty much my thoughts. I just want to come over here and talk about it. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.